Together. So join Odyssey and find your one thing. Now that it's autumn, check window and door seals for proper insulation and replace your furnace air filter. Join Odyssey, and together, each of us doing one thing makes a greener tomorrow. What's your one thing?
America is finishing its first new nuclear power plant in decades, and workers have begun loading it with radioactive fuel. I'm Jeff Baldwin at Fortune Magazine's The Fortune Business Update. The two new reactors in Georgia were approved 10 years ago. With oil and natural gas prices rising and concerns about emissions and climate change more intense than ever, you might suppose that interest in emission-free nuclear energy would be intense also. And in fact, some analysts are saying that more nuclear power will be necessary for the U.S. to meet its emission reduction goals. But the reactors are years behind schedule and billions of dollars over budget. The Georgia project is the only nuclear plant under construction in the U.S., and its costs and delays could deter other utilities from building such plants, even though they generate electricity without releasing climate-changing carbon emissions. The first of the two reactors is planned to reach commercial operation by the end of March. I'm Jeff Baldwin.
Frank Munich is back. He's got our latest look at traffic.
Oh, we're not looking at much in the way of trouble. We have a stall reported in Oakland. This is on the Grand off-ramp, the West Grand off-ramp from westbound 80. That's right near the 880 split in Oakland. We have the West Grand Avenue off-ramp blocked by a stall that has been blocking the far right lane. We have construction cones up on eastbound 80, but for right now they're only in the two right lanes at Gilman Street. This all because of work to try and build a pedestrian and bicycle crossing there. That's going to be going on for the next couple of overnights. Within the next couple of hours, two more lanes are going to be closed off until the point where we'll have the four right lanes closed and only the left lane open. Again, that eastbound 80 at Gilman Street. Your next update at 12:38 on the traffic leader KCBS.
Clear and cool during these overnight hours with lows mostly low to mid 40s, but we're looking at some 30s and maybe even some upper 20s in some areas. So much so that the National Weather Service has issued a frost advisory until 9 o'clock this morning. Later on today, sunny skies. Highs will be in the mid-60s to mid-70s.
You wanna go? All of you who wanna go to college, wanna go? You best listen to this knowledge. Listen. You gotta be a go-getter, cause it's hard to get there. Get up in their face, get up in their face. Excuse me, mister. You say you're my teacher, you say you're my preacher. Excuse me, mister. You act like you're large and you say you're in charge. So show me, what is it that I need? So tell me, the books I should read. Somebody hit me with the 411. There are steps to take, there's a job to be done. I want step 1, step 2, step 3 spelled out. All the info is what I'm about. So ask for help and do not stop. Know how to go, that's it, let's rock.
That was Farnsworth Bentley with Wanna Go. For more college info, visit knowhowtogo.org. Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation for Education, and the Ad Council.
News that matters to you, around the Bay, around the world, around the clock. All News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS.
It's Monday, October 24th, 2022. Coming up on KCBS, we'll have analysis of the California gubernatorial debate held yesterday. Also,
I'm Alice Wirtz in Oakland. A sweet goodbye for a cherished business.
They're closing. This is it, the last day.
the time, 12:31.
CBS News Brief, the Phillies will face the Astros in the World Series after beating the Padres Sunday night.
Right field, Segura's out, Castellanos out, and the Philadelphia Phillies are going to the World Series.
A call on TBS. Houston beat the New York Yankees. Former President Trump wants states to end mail-in voting. CBS's Robert Costa.
CBS News has learned that this all comes as the former president is asking allies around the country to block mail-in voting laws ahead of 2022 and ahead of 2024.
January 6th Committee Vice Chair Liz Cheney says the committee will enforce its subpoena of Donald Trump.
We have many alternatives that we will consider if the former president decides that he is not going to comply with his legal obligation. The legal obligation every American citizen has to comply with a subpoena.
Cheney spoke on NBC. CBS News Brief. I'm Christopher Cruz.
KCBS News Time, 12:32. Good morning. I'm Peter Finch. Gavin Newsom's Republican opposition in State Senator Brian Dahle got his one and only shot at debating the governor Sunday afternoon as the two campaign in the upcoming midterm election. But with Gavin Newsom looking stronger than ever in the Democratic Party and the debate competing with NFL's big Sunday viewership, did it mean anything? Did it register at all? For more, KCBS's Liz St. John and Chris Ann Carlos spoke to GOP political consultant Mike Madrid.
Dahle's point here in this debate was to try to do something to bring Governor Newsom down. Was he successful?
No, I don't think he was, largely in part because there are so few people watching and because, as was mentioned in the introduction, Gavin Newsom has not only become a strong force in California Democratic politics, but nationally. He's expanded his name recognition, his name identification, and he's probably in a very, very strong position to be reelected overwhelmingly.
So, does this do much for either campaign? Do you think most California voters have already made up their mind who they're voting for?
For the most part, we're amongst the highest partisanized
approaching a railroad crossing
in the country, with an overwhelming Democratic advantage, almost 2-to-1 advantage in a very, very large, expensive state. It's almost impossible to break through, not only to the media bubble, the narrative of what's happening in campaigns, but to break people out of their partisan silos in this type of an environment. It makes it extraordinarily difficult for Republicans in a race like this. And while I think Dahle did a good job of kind of managing himself and showing a grasp of the issues and even tapping into the sentiment for change that does exist, it's still extremely unlikely that the dynamic of this race changed at all.
This is an opportunity for Republicans to push forward or lean forward on issues that they see important, and especially when it comes to gas prices and inflation, which they're hitting hard down in Orange County on those congressional races. Do you think that there was some strategy there to try to aid and abet those candidates?
There's no question that there was. I mean, having high Republican turnout across the board, of course, would help the Republican Party. They are leaning into, like you said, the inflationary costs that are affecting all Californians. Gas prices are the most real way to see that.
approaching a railroad crossing.
Private discussion of things like crime, law and order, and homelessness, which consistently rank at the top of the minds of voters. Dahle, of course, is looking to capture that change vote, or even a lot of Democrats report to pollsters that they're very much have an appetite for change. But again, the fundamentals of this race are just extraordinarily difficult for Dahle to mount a significant challenge.
And you mentioned voter turnout. Of course, that's key in so many races. What are you expecting for California? Voter turnout higher than usual, lower than usual?
I think we've entered this period of very high turnout from both parties. Both party bases recognize that we are in extraordinary times right now where the stakes are very, very high. In the last midterm elections in 2018, we had a record high turnout. I expect we'll probably come close to that, if not surpass it. So very, very high turnout is expected. And again, the question is going to be the fundamentals of a state that overwhelmingly benefits Democrats, or will the appetite for change be such that Dahle can mount an insurgent campaign and move the needle towards his direction?
So I just want to play hypothetical here. Let's just say that we had the debate on, I don't know, a Monday night, and it was raining everywhere in California, and it was carried on every single network, every single station. Do you think people would have actually tuned in and cared? And you're a political consultant. A lot of criticism about the timing of this coming from the Newsom camp. If you were in his shoes, or if you were consulting him, would you have advised differently?
To the first question, would it have made a difference? Probably marginally, sure. There certainly would have been a lot more viewership in an environment where there is some receptivity to the change argument that Dahle was making, would have some impact. Again, overcoming the fundamentals is probably not going to happen, especially in a debate that essentially drew to a draw, I think it's fair to say. But if I was a political consultant advising Governor Gavin Newsom, I would have said precisely the same thing. You'll notice that they not only chose a time to have just one debate, but to have that debate on the radio and have it during NFL football games.